After exporting your rendering from Twinmotion, you should have a new file somewhere on your computer or in OneDrive. Go find that file, select and right-click on it, and if you don't have an option here to print, choose Show More Options. Then select Print. In the Print dialog box, the main thing we want to do is find the right printer. You should have something that looks just like this: a Benedi BYUI EDU, student color 11x17. If the description doesn't match that exactly, the main thing we're looking for is that it's in color and 11x17. Sometimes I've even seen it written as CLR, just like this description up above, which stands for color. But if you can find one that looks like this, go ahead and choose that. And then we'll make sure that our size is the proper 11x17 inch size paper. You shouldn't have to do anything with quality. And then the paper type, we'll choose HP Glossy 130 gram. Sometimes after I choose my paper size, I have to wait about a half of a minute before I'm able to select anything from the paper type. So if this is grayed out, just wait, it'll show up in a minute. And then the last thing we'll do is we'll look at the bottom, fit picture to frame. Go ahead and click on it, deselect it, decide which way you like it. It's possible that if you use this option that a little bit of it is going to get cropped, but it appears as though this is the better option for me because it's still leaving a white border around the perimeter. So that's probably what's going to show up in the print. Now, if you deselect this and you see a large white band on the top or bottom or left and right, that typically means that your picture wasn't an 11x17 to begin with. And you probably need to go back into Twinmotion and adjust the export settings so that you can make sure that you've got the proportions right. In this case, I'm going to leave that selected, and then I'll hit print. Now, before I actually release the print, which I'll show you how to do in the next picture, I want to show you this picture because the next thing you'll do is go grab some fancy paper. We typically store this photo printer paper in the back of the classroom, whether it be 145 or 147. Just go through these drawers until you find a stack of paper, either in a box like this or just loose like this. Take 2 of them. We only have enough for everybody to take 2. So you're entitled to 2. After that, you'll need to supply your own photo paper. Okay, the next thing is walk out of 145 or 147 until you see the printer station. And right here is a little card swipe. If you have money on your BYUI card, you can swipe it. Your name and print will show up on this monitor, and you can select to release it. It'll send it to this printer, and before you release, you want to make sure that you open up the second tray and load in the photo paper, which is what you can see is happening in this picture here. Load it completely, set it right on top of this other stack with the glossy side up. That'll make sure that the print shows up on the right side of the paper. Set that paper in place, close the tray, then you can go to the release station and tell it to release, and it'll print 1 or 2 of your renderings, whatever you have already sent out here to the printer. And then the last thing will be all the stuff that I showed in class. You'll want to cut out your boards. You'll want to use a utility knife. You want a metal ruler, preferably a corkback metal ruler. And what I like to do before I mount and cut out my actual rendering is I take some of this double-sided sticky tape and I put that on that photo paper after it's been printed on. And I put some in the corners and maybe a few other places to make sure it's going to stick. Then I place that paper on my foam core. This is black foam core. You would need a larger piece than this. Put that on your foam core, and after it's already adhered and attached, then I take the ruler and the knife and I cut it out perfectly along the edges. You can either cut along the white edges that are the border of the page, or you can cut around the printed edges, and that would eliminate the white edges. It would cut them off. Either way is just fine. When that's all done, you need to cut the baseboard or the back portion of your presentation to the proper size, and you'll have to take the rendering that was just cut out. You'll use this foam tape, and you just want to apply that to the back side of your 11x17 inch foam mounted render. You just need a little bit, just a little half of an inch here. Cut that off, put one in all 4 corners of the rendering, and then mount it to the larger board. Ultimately, the project will look like this, with a black foam backboard and the image being mounted to black foam core, then also mounted to the back. Remember that this image is mounted to its foam using this double-sided tape. But the foam piece that you see here is mounted to the foam piece behind it with the actual foam tape, as shown right here. If you forget the size of the actual mounting boards, then go look at your final project renderings assignment and just click on this image, and it will tell you exactly how big you're supposed to make the actual renderings as well as the board behind it. If you're wondering where you're supposed to actually make these cutouts, remember you have to cut everything on this mat board, this green mat board, which is really stiff stuff. You'll find one of those in either of the labs, 145 or 147, or you can go inside the Austin building. This is the main entrance to the Austin building, and so our classrooms are here, 145 and 147. If you walk down the hallway towards the main lobby and then turn left and go into the wood shop, which is here. So if this is the main entrance, you would just walk all the way through until you see an entry into the wood shop here. And if you walk into that wood shop and go stand right here, you'll find some additional equipment. You should be able to find some of that tape and some new fresh blades for cutting your foam core, and then there's tables all throughout here. If you can find a piece of that mat board, you can put it down on those tables, and if you can find a utility knife, you can use that to cut out inside the wood shop here. Make sure to clean up after yourself, and good luck.